Welcome to Soul Dates Live. This is Soul Dates Live. I am Sean Garvey. Thank you so much for tuning in to Soul Dates Live. This is the first Soul Dates Live of 2026. I appreciate you all for coming on. Make sure you follow us on all your social media, especially me. Follow me at Sean Garvey ATL. So, quick announcement before we go any further, in case you are new to Soul Dates Live. And like I said, this is the first Soul Dates Live of 2026. So that means we're going to be doing things a little bit different in 2026 with the show. Now, if you've been following the show since 2023, that's how long ago the show was. It was a show where we bring on single people, we bring on the main dater, bachelor or bachelorette, and we place them in a virtual studio with 3 other contestants, and those contestants have to compete against each other to go on a date with that one bachelor or that one bachelorette that is looking to find the one to go on a date with. And so the history really quick before we go any further is that it started where the dater would need to pick whoever has the best musical compatibility. So interesting twist to the show there, especially our first time doing a show like that on a digital platform just like this one. And so we wanted to take it up a notch a little bit. A year later, bring on some new co-hosts to the show. And we went from making it about musical compatibility to pretty much just finding that connection in different forms. It doesn't have to necessarily be just music. It could be, what do you like to eat, or what are your favorite restaurants? What are your favorite movies, et cetera, et cetera. We've had a few challenges, bumps in the road behind the scenes, where we only had one person come on the show, and everybody wasn't able to come on the show. And so a light bulb ding came on and said, okay, well, we need to be more couple focused. In the world of things changing, things evolving, dating is not what it used to be, especially me coming up, as a 80s baby 90s kid. And so I felt it was only right to make it more couple focused. Now, if you have seen some of our past episodes of Soul Dates Live, we have had couples on the show before while the bachelor or the bachelorette was in the virtual studio going through all the contestants we had on standby, looking to go on a date with that one particular person. And then there have been episodes we have done recently where we only invited couples to talk about their testimonial story and how they made it work. So I'm glad that I mentioned all that to you guys for the very first time, just in case you are new to the program. But if you like to see and watch some of our past episodes from 2023, 2024, last year, and the last few episodes, you can go to YouTube and subscribe, like, share, subscribe, YouTube channel, Reach One Network, or you can scan the QR code at the top of your screen there and download the Honey streaming app for free. By the way, I gotta say for free on your Roku TV, so you can go to our on-demand channel and catch some of the highlights and the episodes of Soul Dates Live. But in the meantime, between time, I gotta bring this lovely couple up. We are featuring for the month of February. I like to call February the love month because it's Valentine's Day weekend. I know you all are looking forward to it. And so it is without further ado that I bring to you Jazmine and Will. Welcome to Soul Live. Such a cute couple there. Such a cute couple. Welcome to Soul Dates Live. How you all doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing fantastic.
Good. You all are such a cute couple, a lovely couple there. And I like and I also like how the backdrop complements YouTube, by the way, as well. Because we're not big budget like some of the other YouTube shows or the other platforms that are out there. We make it do what it do. But I just gotta compliment you guys on the backdrop there. It matches with the tone. Oh, they decided to take the Bluetooth out. I don't know if they can hear me. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Now I can hear myself. Okay. We're working out.
When?
Let's see. Is it me or is it?
No, we apologize for that. That's our problem. We're apologizing. Sorry.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Fade the black. Fade the black. Okay.
We're back now. Sorry.
Can you all hear me?
Yes,
Oh,
we can hear you. Sorry for that.
Nope.
Technical error on our end.
Okay. So we're gonna make it do what it do. It's live, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, a little bit of pre-taping in between, but we're gonna make it do what it do because we definitely want to use this time to help daters and to help couples that are out there just trying to figure things out in this complicated world of dating and relationships and even marriages, if you will. But for clarity purposes, Jazmine and Will are not married, at least not yet. Right? So how long have you two been together?
A year and what, 2 months now?
Yeah, about a year, 3-4 months. Yeah.
A year and 3-4 months. Okay, you all are almost there. So,
yeah. And we'll
Yeah.
definitely go into the whole backstory with everything and how we met and a lot of other facets and I know maybe some of the watchers are kind of seeing like, oh, we've been together. I'm like, I'm more of those ones like when you find the one, you're kind of like, I know it's the one, and definitely with Jazmine here.
Have you all had recently? Have you all had people tell you y'all need to go ahead and get married right now, or even ask you when you all going to get married? I know that's like the number one common question that people bring up whenever you're interacting with family members, friends, or whoever.
Yes, definitely. I know with your family members.
Yeah.
Upon meeting them the first time, they were like, "Finally, someone for him."
Yeah.
When are you two getting married?
Yep. And I know your friends have asked and being like, so when you gonna pop the question, I'm like, I got a time in mind. I definitely got it all planned out in my head. Taking feedback from you, definitely. I'm just kind of like, okay, I got a plan.
Well, hey, as long as you got a plan, then you just let everything else work out on its own. So let's talk about two of you are individual. I'm gonna start with you, Jazmine.
Okay.
What was dating like for you before you met Will? And I'll ask Will the same question, but I want to start with you, Jazmine.
Surprisingly, I didn't really date until I chose to start dating and meeting Will. So my past relationships kind of were like happenstance. So I was friends first with them, and then it was like feelings started to rise, and then I got together with them. So I never really managed to step foot into the dating world until I chose to take a step in and try and find someone, because all I did was go to work and go home, and I knew I was ready for a relationship. So at that point, I went on to online dating, which briefly for a time I did try online dating before, years before, when I was a teenager. And that was just awkward and weird because I'm more of an organic type of person. I like to meet in person. So yeah, I know for myself it was a little bit complicated because I'm so used to just meeting. We're all friends, and then now we're together, and then this was definitely for me a new territory of dating, actively dating.
Yeah. And there was some hesitation before because there's a whole story behind that one too, where you kind of got off, got back on, and that's the funny story and how we did meet.
I freaked out. We met online on a dating app, and
what was the name of the dating app? What's the name of the dating app? If you want,
we met on Hinge.
Oh yeah, Hinge.
We did meet on Hinge, which is great. The previous dating apps I tried was Tinder or Plenty of Fish. Did not work out, but Hinge was perfect.
Yeah.
And I was on it for a week and a half. I freaked out.
And this is before we spoke or anything.
This was before we spoke. I freaked out. I paused the account, and then some time went by, and my friend very much just had a talking to me because it was, for me, it was also dating through grief because my previous boyfriend had died. So it was it was trying to social navigate.
Yeah.
Social navigate that situation, as well as like I was ready for a relationship at that point, but then I wasn't sure how to go about it. And so my friend really, she had a talking to me and was like, you're going to have to, like, through love, you're going to find grief regardless, but you have to be like open. And just, I think a lot of things aligned during the time, because I was supposed to be out of town the week that we matched.
It was uncanny. Like, I was never one of like the whole like, oh, fairy tale things are meant to be. But I'm like, in retrospect, I'm sorry to interject because I know it's Jazmine's time. Looking at it, it was like the stars aligned. I know that sounds kind of far-fetched in a way, but it really was. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, everything just coincided so perfectly with this. I'm like, I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, so I'm like, I unpaused, and then like I think 2 or 3 days later we matched, which is, and like I said, the week that we matched, I was supposed to be in a different state just to help out with the company that I help out with. So it was kind of, I had like double booked myself. And so I couldn't do that. And then I was here, and it was actually the first day of me teaching sub.
Yeah, I remember telling me, yep.
That we matched. So that was in a weird twist of things, because he is a former teacher. So the fact that it was like, I was teaching for the first time and he is a former teacher and we matched, it was kind of, I'd say fate.
Yeah.
Actually. Yeah.
With everything that aligned, it really felt that way. It did.
Yeah. I want to go back to something that you said just a few moments ago about your previous boyfriend, and my condolences, by the way. How long ago was it? Because depending on the individual or the person, whenever they suffered a loss, especially if it's a ex-spouse, ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, it may take them a long time, like a long period of time, for them to get over the loss of somebody that they have been in a serious committed relationship with. So how long ago?
Actually, what it was, Sunday would have marked 3 years. Yeah. So by the time we matched, it had been 2 years since.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for myself, like originally when he had died, I didn't give myself that time to grieve. I got into a whole situationship that was like on and off, like a 6-month on and off fling. And then I gave myself a year to just get to know myself and know what I wanted and to grieve.
Right.
And that's when we matched.
Wow. Now, Will, I want to come over to you. As a person, I can relate to you as a man, because as a person who has been on numerous apps, you don't want to, what's the word I'm looking for? Pay to subscribe or to find love or what have you. How much money, this is the question I want to ask you. How much money did you have to pay for the subscription, or for the likes, or for the, you know what I mean, on those apps?
No, that's totally a fair question. Being, formerly in the dating pool, and having to deal with that. So just for context, is it for the Hinge when I went on it, or was it for like in total of my, since I've been, in the dating world?
You paid for more?
I did. I said that out. I said there was other dating apps. For Hinge. I did, and I can explain that. I can explain that. You know what? In retrospect, I'm glad I did. I think probably in total over everything, maybe $300, and we're talking like since starting dating all the way up to like now.
Wow. So
I would say that. However, for the audience who's listening, and for anyone who might help with this one, out of all the dating apps that I have done, and I'm going to say this completely, I am not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by saying this. Okay, so please take that with a grain of salt. Hinge was the best. And I can explain that from a guy's perspective, looking for a long-term relationship, because I've always been that. I wasn't into flings or short-term. Like I was always a long-term guy. I always wanted for the long haul. I always wanted to be in a committed relationship. Like that was kind of my thing. There were a lot of things that it offered that I liked a lot. And with that in mind, I always had really good success with it. And I mean, we met. It aligned with that one.
I almost didn't swipe on him though.
But there was a reason why though. There was a reason why we went through everything, because I liked the way it had it. Is it okay to kind of, if you have any other questions, kind of go into it? I don't want to take away anything.
No, sure. I mean, this.
Okay. So I had been on other sites. Bumble was a second for me, but it just, I know with dating apps sometimes, like some of them seem like really good at the beginning and then other things come into play and then prices go up, features get taken away. And it's like, I know with Bumble, it used to be your female counterpart, they start the conversation first, which, being a guy, I'm used to starting conversations first, but it was a little refreshing to be like, okay, let's see how you respond with certain things and how you act. I'm not looking for, something crazy. Let's just see your response. Does it feel natural? Does it feel forced? I want to know more about that person.
Sure.
But then they got rid of that and then went to the curb. So I'm like, okay, well, now this is kind of like any other dating site. And then, okay, so for context, we live in Las Vegas.
It's horrible trying to date in Vegas.
You deal with the very large tourist and transient population here that come and go for fun. Mm-hmm. So trying to find committed relationships and people who are willing, it's trying to find like a diamond in a coal mine. It's just kind of searching through and looking and going, oh, maybe there's something here because the amount of people that tourism, it's just like, it's crazy.
Or even just the amount of people just wanting to hook up.
Oh, God. Everywhere.
And they form it as them wanting a relationship.
Yeah. So with Hinge, other thing too is that it would not allow you to see other profiles of people until you completed everything on there. To which I looked at as like, oh, well, then you really kind of got to be committed to make a full profile and go through that. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, this is really good. It allowed for pictures. It allowed for the other thing I liked was audio. So listening to someone's recording, being like a voice, like they'd ask a question, we'd hear it, we'd go through, and I'd listen and go, oh, okay, that's actually really nice.
Oh, I love the sound of people. Mm-hmm. I'm like very auditory, so like hearing the voice is what gets me sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes it's nice when you hear someone's like cheerful voice or how they speak or how in depth they go with a question, because same as you'd go on a date in person. You'd ask a question, see, someone responds. And it's like, and I've been on dates before where it was like a one-word answer, and it's like pulling teeth out of someone to get a conversation going. And after a while, you're just like,
where's this going? Nowhere.
Where's this going? So that'd be my suggestion and everything. And it was really nice free, because Hinge, even free, had good parts. The part I didn't like, and of course, this is where they hook you on dating sites. So the people in the audience, is when you'd have it and be like, and I was passive with it because it was kind of like, okay, let's see what goes, what happens. Is you'd find someone, oh, they match with you, but you only get the last person. So there could have been like 5 people and the other 4 are blocked. So you got to pay to see. And I'm like, okay, I can pay this. That's perfectly fine. And I'm glad I did.
Not me.
I'm glad I did because it worked for us. So I was just kind of like, whew, all right. I don't regret that. I don't regret that at all.
But see, it's like the club thing, right? It's like ladies get in free before a certain time, before midnight, and the guy you have to pay to get. We already
have the option to pay, but I just
Jazmine, we already have to pay to park. We got to pay the gas. We got to pay the gas. We got to pay for the food. We got to pay to buy you a drink. We got to pay to buy ourselves a drink. That's how it goes.
Yep. Yeah. I would say if I had to pick one again, or still suggest someone in an audience who is looking for a relationship on a site, I like that one the most, and I would still tell anybody who is in that situation to do that. And that for the reasons. I mean, I can go more in depth with it for other things and other stuff, but I'm like, I liked it. It worked well. It was cohesive. I especially just like the audio parts because it seemed to separate itself from other sites that I had been on before, where I'm like, this is just a cash grab. This one, it actually seemed like, wow, you actually are looking for quality and you have good services that, I'm willing to pay for good service if you're willing to deal it.
On top of that, they made you verify your
Yes. Yes. Oh, that was a great part too. It's like, it makes you verify. Like, you have to. If you don't verify, you don't get to play.
It's not like a catfish.
Oh, especially here, because you get that time too.
Let me just also add to your testimony there. As somebody who has been on, and like I said, I'm just reiterating, numerous amount of apps. Mm-hmm. I can't really say which one is the best, but I have been on Hinge before. and I met met 2 people off of Hinge, and I've spoken with dozens of people off Hinge that never really materializes or anything. But I am a believer in utilizing whatever tools are out there and finding out what app works best for you, because the Tinders and the Hinge and all these other apps they're all the same, but they're also different as well.
Yeah.
In terms of how they go about matching people and everything. But look, Hinge, or the kind folks at Hinge, if you're watching and listening to this, I'm gonna need you all to be a backer for Soul Dates Live and to help endorse Soul Dates Live. And then maybe Sean himself can go back to using Hinge. That we just need that endorsement deal from Hinge.
Yeah. And I say that with no sponsorship whatsoever. I'm not sponsored. I'm not. There's nothing with it, and I mean that. I mean, like, I would tell that to anybody who's gone through the trials, the tribulations, the crazy hexscape that is the current dating world and technology, and say, if I had to place a bet on the best one you got a chance of, that would be my bet.
Guess it's a good idea we didn't get that Hinge commercial.
No, we never did that. No.
But that would be a good look for you, both of you all. I mean, a good look, to be on a Hinge commercial. That'd be good. That'd be good. So, what was it, Jazmine? What was it about Will? Let's talk about Will and just the spark between you and Will. Like, what was it about Will that made you say, I need to give this man a chance?
Yeah, I know when he initially popped up, I almost did not accept it.
Yep.
And that's because I thought he was like in the military, and that's just one thing I do not do as military guys. But because his one of his pictures was him in like tactical gear.
Yep.
But that's just him playing dress up and going.
Grand Theft Auto type stuff, or this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I liked his profile a lot. A lot of things that we had aligned. So he wanted children. He wanted to get married. And he of age, an age that I was willing to date. And surprisingly, when I was younger in dating, I would only date someone that was like 3 years older than me, like max. And then he's actually much older than that than I am, which is perfectly fine. I mean, at the age that
probably should give some context to the audience who's wondering, like, how old are you then?
I'm 28, about to turn 29, and he is 34.
I mean, not too far apart, but
not too far. No. And I know for myself with Hinge, a lot of the profiles, like a lot of the men that were liking me, I would notice that they would only like my first picture, no comment. And what really grabbed my attention about Will was that I could tell he looked through my profile. And not only did he look through my profile, he liked my audio and had a genuine question with it, which means that told me he listened to my audio and he was interested in what I had to say. And that's what really, not only his good looks, but the fact that we could have a conversation, and that piqued my interest. And the fact that you're 6'5" definitely added to it. But
yeah, that was a big perk for you, because I know, and I'm going to say, you know what, we'll save that. I want to interject because there's a question you want to bring up with that for dating, and if anyone's viewing to spruce up your profile and things like that, we can go into that later if you like.
Also, all your pictures aside from the one with apparently who was a footballer.
Marlon Greenwood. He was former Houston Texans and Miami Dolphins, because I went for a fundraiser at the M Resort and he was there, and he's 6 foot on record. And I purposely did that because everyone always questioned me, you're not 6'5", because that was the number one thing I had, where everyone always saying, because I always talk to my friends who are women. They're like, okay, tell me when you're in the dating room, what would the number one thing guys would lie about? Height. Mm-hmm. They always lie about height. Mm. And I went, okay, so we need to dispel that. What can I do besides going into a convenience store and putting it up here and be this is a good picture? I was there and I'm like, oh, he's 6 foot. And we can wiki this and be like, he's right there. He's 5 inches above it. And that was one of the photos I had. Great guy. But I'm like, all right, there's the confirmation just in case.
The thing is, I just assumed it was a random guy. I don't watch football. So I was like, I don't know. Like, these are all great pictures, and here's one with this random guy, but at least I know it's him. So, like, all his pictures were just of him, which is great in my book.
Right.
And just, yeah. That's kind of what attracted me to him initially, was just his response to my questions on Hinge. And I value that a lot, is like communication. So for him to have listened and then had a genuine response and wanted to hear my response, that's what ultimately made me respond back. Yeah. I was like, he may be military, but I like this response.
Yeah. And for you, Will, what is it about Jazmine? Because I know you wasn't just going based off of looks alone. And I mean, of course, it was the question part, but what else was it about Jazmine that sparked your interest in her?
So I think the biggest thing, and I'm sorry if I ramble on about this, when looking at profiles and looking for prospective matches and relationships, was first as pictures. Pictures. It's like looking at anything else, going, okay, how do you present yourself? How are you conveying yourself? And I think a lot of what I saw in Jazmine was genuine pictures. Okay, it wasn't staged. It wasn't like another bikini pic where it's like, here's a drink by the pool, half scantily clad, because those are a dime a dozen here in Vegas. It seemed like, again, this is like, oh, she's in Europe. This is a picture over here. Here's a picture with friends, and she's genuinely having a good time. It's not like one of those forced smiles you see from some people. It's like, you're like, are you in pain? Is someone holding you hostage? Like, what are you doing? Are you okay? Do I need to call someone?
Yeah.
And the way in which the questions that she had put, because they give you prompts for like questions like, oh, what's your favorite thing or something you've done? And I remember for hers, it was like, something you're proud accomplishment you had, and that was audio, was that she decided to go pursue a degree overseas in Europe and just decided, I'm going to go do this. And I'm like, wow, that takes a lot to do. I mean, that shows gumption. I mean, like, wow. And I want to delve a little bit more into that and learn more about it. And for that, it was just like, yeah, I'm really interested. I want to know more, genuinely. I want to know more about this and talk. And that's kind of where it hit off.
And the rest was history. Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of other stories we can go into about just all those stars aligning, like we were talking previously in this. It's just like,
it is.
Wow.
I mean, even our first conversation, like, we started talking. I responded to him. And he responded back, and just like, if you look at our earlier conversation, it's just
Oh, I'm sorry, we had a bit of a delay there. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Continue on.
Yeah, it was just like paragraphs of us talking. Like, there was no lull in the conversation. It was just like an immediate click, and I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, the dating online thing, like, people nowadays are doing it now, and it doesn't work for everybody, but for some it does work. So it's a great thing that the two of you all met and match off of a dating app, if you will. And so with the two of you all matching, because I heard you all say that you all are in Las Vegas right now. So my question is, when you all match, or prior to you all matching on the dating app, were you all already in Las Vegas, or were one of you all in a different state or in a different region or city when you all matched?
As far as I'm aware, we were both in Vegas.
Yep.
We both live in Vegas, but surprisingly, we're not from Vegas.
Yeah.
I'm from Chicago. He's from Buffalo, New York. So, like, when we matched, I was just at work. I don't know what you were doing, but like, I was working and just in
I actually was on my lunch break at work when I was looking at your profile. Yeah, I was on my lunch break.
Wow. Well, you must be to this very day glad that you took that lunch break.
Yes.
It must have been a long.
My current job allows me to actually have lunch, because I know being a former teacher is like, your lunch breaks are not your own. So I remember just taking that, like, you know what? Let me just look and see. And then I was like, oh, okay, all right, let's give this a shot.
Yeah, and just a few minutes ago, you spoke about how competitive and how unique the dating scene is in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm in Atlanta right now. So you might have heard all of the stories about how dating is and how dating works in Atlanta. And Las Vegas, to my understanding, is a different type of world than anywhere else. But there can also be a lot of temptation.
Oh,
yeah.
So
many a good man go astray.
Yeah. So how the two of you all, how did you all make that work to maneuver around all of the temptation and all the other things that comes along with being in Las Vegas?
I think, well, in the beginning, when we were just doing dates, I was still like on Hinge and still kind of like.
The first couple of days, yeah.
Yeah, the first couple of days, I was still like passively swiping because I knew like I really liked him. And actually, after our first date, I had cried. I told you about this. Yep. I cried because I was like, there was a whole thing happening with a friend that I wasn't sure what was going on with that. But I, like, after crying and like, surprisingly, I did have another date the next day.
Oh, yeah, there's a good story about that one. That was funny.
So we went on a date, and he asked me on the date first. So on the day that we matched, I also matched with another guy. And okay. I wasn't quite feeling that guy, but I was like, I'll give it a chance. And he asked me on a date first. So our date was set up for Sunday. And then the other guy asked me on a date. So I set up another date for Monday. So I had like a back-to-back.
Look at you. Look at you. This is definitely like a game show. This was pretty much like a dating game show in real time.
Yeah, basically.
God, it was so funny. I'm sorry to interject.
So, well, I went on this date, and the other guy, he took me to like sushi and a hockey game. Mm-hmm. And before I met either of them, I needed to have a conversation, like FaceTime, video chat, anything on the phone before the date. Mm-hmm. And
good advice for anyone out there. Definitely like confirmation of like hearing someone's voice and being like, oh, you are a real person, as opposed to like getting catfished.
It also it made me less nervous for our first date. And also it was really nice to hear your voice. And our conversation lasted like 2 hours.
Oh yeah, easy. Oh yeah.
Insane.
And it was November too, and I was freezing out on the top patio. I'm just like, I just want to keep talking.
You could have gone into the house.
I didn't want to. I wanted to stay outside.
That's fair. But I went on, so the next day I went on a date with the guy, and literally at the hockey game, he's like in the bathroom, but the entire date I was messaging him.
Whoa, wait a minute. Hold on, back up. I don't think the audience and the viewers heard you correctly. Did you say that while your other date was in the bathroom or in the restroom, you was messaging the guy that's sitting next to you at the same time?
Yes.
I didn't know that till later either. I was laughing.
Yeah, I didn't tell him until our second date. I didn't tell him.
Yeah. No, it was like our third date.
No, it was our second. We were golfing, and we were
like, you're right.
That was the date when I was like, oh, we're just gonna be friends.
Because we thought, but that didn't happen.
Of course, it didn't happen. But I initially, when he was asking me how my night was going during that date, I was like, oh yeah, it's going all right. I'm going to a hockey game with a friend. Like
Wow.
I didn't tell him anything, but and I mean, I was not feeling that guy at all. It just wasn't.
I mean, obviously you wasn't. If you had to message somebody while he was in the bathroom, I mean, unless it's your girlfriends or somebody like, hey girl, you know this guy is da da da. But messaging another man
during our first date, I didn't even message anybody until after the date.
No phones, no nothing.
Yeah.
And I think, I'm sorry, I keep interjecting it. I didn't take away from anything. I think one of the most refreshing things that was honest, and I'm going to take this from previous dating experience to Jazmine, was our conversations and the depth at which they were held has never changed. It's always been in depth. It's never superficial. Like it's genuine. There were long conversations. Even in person, it was the same. Whereas before, you'll talk to someone initially, and you're like, okay, it sounds good. And you get into person, you're like, you changed a lot in conversations now. And that was like, what's with the switch up? Whereas us, there was none. It was like everything just kept linearly going along. Like, wow,
And like with that other guy, it was like conversation was kind of stilted. And we got on FaceTime and it was stilted. And I was like, what if he might be better in person? And then it was just not it.
Yeah.
And also he didn't want children. So I was like, why am I dealing with this anyway? But
there you go.
Yeah. And then my friend who I messaged the night before messaged me back, and I kind of made the decision that in order for me to be happy and find love, I had to like let him go in that sense. So that like helped, at least for myself, in terms of like any drama or things that were happening in terms of dating that could like mess this up. Because I knew I really like, that's why I cried, because I knew I like really liked you. And I was like, what do I do?
Yeah.
I gotta ask you, Will, did you catch somebody else's eye while you was talking to Jazmine at the same time?
So no, but I actually do want to double back to something you were mentioning earlier that you had dealt with, the ghosting or someone being stubborn. Because I'm going to tell you right now, my heart attaches to you when you said that, just being like, I've been ghosted before. Oh, how many times you talk to somebody and just go poof. Mm-hmm. And I had talked to people where it seems like conversations were going and then just went off that. And I used to take that very personally. Not in a way where I'm just like, well, what did I do wrong? Like I took the onus on me, like, what did I do wrong that caused this? And it took a little while to be like, it's not you. Just somebody might have either found someone else and went with them, or it just wasn't working and they decided else. And it's really hard. So like anyone in the audience who's feeling that way or dealt with that, please do not beat yourself up. Okay. It's not a you thing. It's just you're dealing with another person that just happens to be saying something and doing something that you aren't quite aware with. So don't take that onus and beat yourself up. It might hurt. It might suck. Been there, done that. So I understand, but you just have to go, okay, well, for whatever reason, it just didn't work. I'm just going to kind of brush myself off. I still want a relationship with somebody. I'm going to pursue and look.
There you go. Yeah. And then people, even viewers, even the ones that are watching right now that are struggling in dating, they can take ghosting not so much as a bad thing. It can also be a good thing depending on the circumstances, because that person may have ghosted on you for whatever reason because they were busy entertaining other people, or it could just be them. And so you just got to take it as somewhat of a blessing in disguise, because that person just wasn't for you. And so I even look at nowadays taking rejection as a good thing, because I'm like, let me go ahead and get all these rejections out of the way. So I can make way, right? So I can make room for the person that wants to be with me and only me.
Yep. Yeah.
That is so true.
It is.
I mean, especially because I manifested this one. So
that was a funny story behind that one too. That I was like, huh.
We got stories.
We got plenty of stories. So like, whatever you want to know and help people or just have a good laugh, we can tell you stories. These are honest, genuine things that I'm like I said earlier, I was flabbergasted and everything just kind of aligned. That I'm like, wow. I feel like I won the lottery of life.
Oh wow!
Genuinely.
Oh wow! Oh see, look, she just like, oh my god, you just know the right things to say.
Like they're not fluff. It's not like, oh, I'm just saying it for the camera. No, it's like, no, I say this every day if the camera wasn't in front of me.
It's definitely not, because I think one thing that was refreshing about him, and still to this day is refreshing, is that from the first conversation, he has never once switched up on me. And I've had that happen before, where it's like in the beginning, they're all lovey-dovey, and then suddenly there's 180 type of thing. And so the fact that you've stayed since matching.
But I think that's another part too, that a lot of people aren't genuine. And it's hard, because to be genuine, sometimes you have to have that sensitivity. And it's hard to be sensitive with another personal issue because you might get hurt. And it's really hard to do that sometimes. And I took that mindset early on. I'm like, I'm going to be genuine, because I want a person to love me for me and who I genuinely am. Yeah. And if it doesn't work, that's okay. Then I'm not for you. And that's all right. I really hope you find that someone out there. But when it does click, the stars are going to align, and it's just going to feel like you're on cloud 9 every day. And I did it. And I'm here now doing this, and I wouldn't change it for a thing. Not a single thing.
I agree with you. I agree with you. For those who are just tuning in to Soul Dates Live, I am Sean Garvey. Make sure you follow me, Sean Garvey ATL on Instagram. I have Jazmine and Will joining with us right here on Soul Dates Live, which is now a part of the Beat Break Morning Show. That's actually the announcement that I meant to make very early on at the beginning of this broadcast here. But we are now a segment, not so much of a weekly show like we used to be back in the day, but now we are a segment because we want this particular part to also complement what we have already established for the past more than 15 years now, the Beat Break Morning Show. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. Once again, make sure you see the third lower at the bottom of your screen there, Cash App, $ Reach One Communications, to help support the show. So continue to show your support and make a donation today while you are watching this broadcast. Also, don't forget to scan the QR code at the top of the screen there so you can download the Honey streaming app to your Roku TV if or someone you know has a Roku TV. We are joined by Jazmine and Will talking about their relationship journey with each other. Been together for how long again? A year and a half now? Or almost
a year and a half.
A little under a year and a half.
Yeah, it was a year and 3 or 4 months or so. Yeah.
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 Soon to be 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do, by the way, Jazmine? What do you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm an actor. So
because I know this is gotta be this part here. This part of your life gotta coincide with your relationship with.
It definitely does. I am an actor. I will not disclose where because NDA type of thing.
Yeah.
But I act a lot, and when we actually matched on our second date, I did think we were just going to be friends because I had an interest in moving back to San Diego or London, and he was like, I want to stay in Vegas. But we ended up having dinner, and we kind of like laid down a lot of the things that we like, what we saw and wanted in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me what was like something that I was afraid of going into dating, which I loved, by the way. And at the time I also substitute teach on the side. So at the time I was subbing and then starting in a nighttime acting gig. Mm-hmm. So my fear was like not having time to actually date, like my schedule getting in the way of dating, and it kind of gets in the way now.
Yeah.
With our schedules are very conflicting now because I work nights and my off days are not his off days, and it's just and his off days are not mine. So we still find time around it. But when we first started dating, I was like teaching during the day and then working at night with only like a 40-minute break.
Yep.
And there were like some on weekends when I wasn't teaching is when we'd like find our dates.
Yeah, and we'd have video calls, we'd have phone calls whenever we could, where you were driving between gigs or anything else. I mean, like we found the time, we made the time, whatever that might have been. We found time for each other, even if it was just a 10-minute conversation, just to check in. Hey, how's it going? You need to talk. Miss you.
He showed up to my house like. I was in the middle of like a burnout.
Oh, yeah.
I think I was crying on the phone to him, and I was not expecting him to show up at my door with food because I think I was like in the middle of trying to like clean, but then get ready to go for work, and I was like crying, and he was just on the phone listening, and then like he knocks on my door, and I didn't even know who was at the door. I was just like, hold on, someone's at the door, and he literally brought me food.
Yeah, that way you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
well, it was just done. It's just those little things.
And even now, like actually recently, not too long, like maybe 2 weeks ago, I was crying on the phone to him because I was like, our schedules are not working and I don't know what to do.
Burnout with stuff.
Yeah. But you were great in reassuring me that like we'll just FaceTime and what we've been doing has been great, and reminding me that we've gone through this before.
Yeah. It's life. It's difficult sometimes to balance life, but you make time for the people you love. And I think it's one of those things of like, ideally, you want more and more free time to have with someone. And ideally, I want a whole day, I want a whole weekend. But sometimes with life, that's really hard to do. But I understand that. And so does she, where it's like, hey, this is work, this is life. But those little things just mean the world to us. I mean, even we only saw each other for like 30 minutes for one day, and it was back. We didn't see each other for another week. because it was just our schedule. But it just meant the world that we could do that and share that little special time and just check in and give a hug and a kiss. But it's okay. Like, we'll be back. And then, we'd either go to a dinner when things were there, go see a movie, or just whatever worked. Yeah.
I find interesting is that everybody is much more busier than ever before. People have 3 jobs, and then you also equate that to your family life, to your social life, hanging out with your friends, hanging out with your girlfriends, or for all of my pet lovers out there and pet owners, I mean, you got pets, and there are people devoted more time to their animals than they would with a human being. So it's good to know that the two of you all made it work during your hectic, busy schedules, because I know that can not only be just a thing, that can also be a mental health issue. Would you say that?
Yeah, because it can be a burnout. And I mean, I know there was a time I was working 3 jobs at once, and it was just, I didn't know what day it was. I didn't know what hour it was. It just, I got to work. I got to do this. I got to have now. I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. But even it really makes you start to value the time that you are able to have with the people that are important in your life.
Right.
It really put in perspective for me how important it was to look back and go, I've got to earn my keep. I got to have a living, but at the same time, be there and be like, I'm going to make time no matter how much and make it worth as much as I can and have with you.
Yeah.
And
that was before we even started dating.
Yeah.
When you did the 3 jobs.
Yeah. I was working, I had the 1 job, which it helped a lot because before, I'm sorry for jumping ahead or going off topic with the questions.
Oh, no, you're fine. You're fine.
I was a teacher for 8 years before. And it was like, everyone's like, oh, teachers get time. No, you don't. No, you don't. Work comes home with you. It becomes a life. And I don't regret it. I loved everyone I was able to help and do and everything. But there's that point you look at yourself in the mirror and going, I am busting my butt. And I'm working 3 jobs right now to maintain a life. And luckily I have a job now that offers me a lot more in being able to have a good work-life balance and still pay bills and everything. I'm grateful every day for that. I truly am. But it still, again, allowed me to value whatever time you can spend with loved ones. Like, ideally, you can't record one more time, but you really have to, because not everything's always going to be great relationships. You're either going to have kids, responsibilities, pets, another one too, where life's going to happen, but it's also going to stand as a testament between a relationship and how both of you can work through that if you really want to be with each other.
Absolutely.
And every time we've had something that comes our way in life, it's not a, oh, well, you have to figure it out, or I have to figure it out. It's like, how do we figure it out? How do we figure it out?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to the date between you, Will, and Jazmine. Tell us what that first date looked like. I want to hear more about that.
He was pretty.
Okay, so before we preface this, would you like her perspective, my perspective, or both kind of as we're going?
I want to get both of you all, just for the sake of time. Let me just get both of you all's perspective on the whole thing.
Okay. All right.
I think I was very much a little bit nervous for the date because this is the first date. And I remember telling my friends, I'm like, you guys have my location, right?
Oh, yeah. Nowadays, you do have to do that. And I applaud people who do that. I applaud people who say, like, here's my location, here's where I'm going to be, just everything.
Oh, yeah, they knew the time.
Yes.
They knew the time and where. We went to Bottiglia, right?
Yes.
We went to an Italian restaurant.
Yeah, so it was a nicer Italian restaurant that I knew. It's at Green Valley Ranch in Henderson. If you look on a map, at the Green Valley Casino. And I like the ambiance. And my perspective, and I'm just going to say this to the gentleman in the audience who are doing this. Here was my perspective with dates. Okay, this is just mine, so you can take it from wherever you want. When I had dates, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pay. That's my own choice. I know we can go through this, like we're going Dutch, like you do 50, I do 50. Like me, I'm like, I'd like to just say I'm doing the first date. That's just a me thing, The other part I always had too is I always want good food. Because if I am on a good date and good food, well, then double great. But if it goes wrong, at least I had a good meal.
That's true.
Okay.
So that was my perspective on that one. We had that.
Yeah.
I remember my attire. I actually chose this. I purposely did this. Was I wore the same outfit I had in one of my pictures on my dating profile, so they definitively knew it was me. Like, there's a picture. There's the guy. Yep.
Vest.
There it is. Yep.
Vest.
Sharp.
Like, I just bought this dress when I was on tour. I bought a dress and I
had
had
it pretty. Had the tropical leaves and everything. It was just so flowing and jewelry.
I was excited. That was my first time wearing that dress too.
Well, you picked a great one.
So I was in this like long dress and heels. But I remember I parked and then I saw him.
Oh, yeah, we both parked. We both right across from each other. We didn't even know.
My brain was like, I'm going to meet him in front of this place. It's going to be good. I parked and then I looked and I was like, oh, he's right there. It's just a starting.
Wow.
Okay.
Like, yeah, okay, here we go.
And at that point, like, I was in heels, but then I like saw you from a different distance and I was like, he is actually 6'5". Okay. Yep. Like, he was tall.
Right. Yes.
Oh. Other thing. If you're going to a restaurant, please, I know there's been some discussions with people on dating. Make reservations, okay?
You never know.
Don't wing it.
Yeah, you never
Don't wing it.
And like
that can look bad on a date. That can put egg on your face real quick.
Oh yeah.
You want to look a fool? Don't make reservations. If you want to look bad in front of your first date, that's a good way to do it. Just it's easy. Use an app. Here's the thing: 6:30 for 2. Done.
You sent it to me too. I'm trying to remember if we hugged the first time we met or if we shook hands.
No, we hugged.
I think we hugged.
Yeah, we hugged.
We hugged? No, yes, we did hug.
Yep.
Because I remember going, in my head, I was like, this man smells really good. Don't tell him he smells good, Jazmine. That's weird.
I remember in our later dates, we talked about that. And I was going like, I really didn't think that would be weird. I'm like, I'm wearing a nice cologne. Like,
I can be weird, okay? So, and I knew the way I would have said it was going to be weird.
But
so
I love it because it's genuine you.
I had to stop myself from saying it. And I remember we were like waiting to be seated, and then we got seated. Mm-hmm. And we mentioned the phone call.
Yeah.
And how I remember you saying, like, I'm kind of glad we had the phone call because like you were less nervous about the date. And I had the same thoughts about it.
It took a lot of ifs and I was out of the way by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I want to fast forward to the conversation that led to many more dates. Like, what was that thing in the conversation that had you, Will, and Jazmine be like, you know what? I could see myself going on a second date with this person. What was that?
The flow in conversation.
Yeah.
Like, as we mentioned earlier, like the first few paragraphs, like talking to each other were paragraphed. And then the first phone call was 2 hours. That all translated into in person on the first date. And like, he also made me laugh. And I thought he was cute and I liked him. The
other thing you had in your profile too is like, I would love someone who can crack a dad joke a day. And I'm like, fellas, put it down. I got this all day long. I'm a teacher. I can crack bad dad jokes all day long. Like
a pun and dad joke, you know? And so he was making me laugh, but like I knew, and the simple fact that like I could feel there was something special about him that I very much enjoyed. And so the fact that I did cry after the first date, like I drove home and I like cried on the phone. Cry. It was a good cry. I cried on the phone to my best friend because I was like, I really like this guy. I don't know what to do. And then I was just like, all right, just message him. Because I mean, at least from what I remember being taught on how to date, after you go on a date, you send like a text message back if you like them or something, or even just a text message to thank them for the date. And in the message, I was like, I really enjoyed the time, would love to do it again. Mm-hmm. And I genuinely did want to see him again, mutual. You know?
Yep. I think that really just got to the second date. And I think it was the third date where we were like, this is something we both really want. I think that was the third date when we did this. And we
that was actually our fourth date.
What's the fourth one? Oh, you're right. No, third was Gabby Cafe. Because we did that one because that's when I got to read your poetry and the writings, and that was really cool.
We did an escape room together on the fourth date.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I used to be a former escape room host, and that's like one thing you like about that is just like this is a great date place or just a group activity because
Right.
the way you talk to each other and work with each other shows character.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And we like worked well as a team, and then he was okay with me like going off to like work on a different puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't like snap at me because I've had that happen in a past relationship where like my boyfriend at the time was like, hold the flashlight like higher, and he was just snapping at me the entire time. Whereas with Will, the entire day, like the way he talked to me was very calming. I mean, he calms me somehow now. Like, and the way we worked together.
It was. It just felt like natural chemistry. There was nothing that felt forced or uncomfortable about it. It just felt like every time I'm with this person, I'm wearing the fuzziest jacket that just keeps me warm and cuddled, and I don't want to take it off. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. So 3-4 dates later, you all are official now. And what I would like to know is how long did you all keep it a secret, or you haven't, I'm assuming that you haven't made it known to the public yet. There was a point in time that you all were going to put it out there and let everybody know that, hey, we're together. We'll like walk us through that journey of going from being on those dates to now you all are official, and you two are like wondering, okay, when do we tell everybody that we are actually exclusive?
I'd first like to point out that I did not know we were boyfriend and girlfriend because he did not ask me.
So there's a story behind that one too. So get ready to have a good laugh.
He did not ask me so the only people who knew I was like dating was my sister and my best friend, and then somehow my mom ended up knowing because during the first conversation we found out that he actually worked with my mother at the same school and he knew my mom. So that was like,
I didn't even know until he told me. I'm like, do you know Miss So-and-so? I'm like, yeah. You're like, oh, she was a teacher there. She was a special. She's like, oh, I know your mom then. Oh,
so
okay.
I had mentioned him to my mom just briefly, like, hey, do you know this guy? And so it wasn't like until maybe sometime in December after it became known that we were in a relationship that my mom asked, like, oh, what happened to that guy that I supposedly know? And I was like, oh, yeah, we're dating now. Like, we're in a relationship. But when he first met my sister, he came over to cook us dinner. I just introduced, because I didn't know what we were. So I just introduced him as like, this is Will, this is Morgan. And then he had a Christmas party that he invited me to. And at the time, like I said, I didn't know if we were dating or not, if we were in a relationship. So I was like, how he introduces me to his family, this will let me know. But he did the same thing that I did, which is like, Dad, this is Jazmine. This is my dad, Tom. And I'm like, so my mom kind of knew like a month into us dating. I did not tell my dad until like 3 months in. Because, you know, this was the first guy that I was dating since my boyfriend had passed. So I was like a little bit nervous. And I also wanted to make sure that he was someone to stay. So I know like I had a timeline, an arbitrary timeline for myself in my head that like I wasn't going to kiss him or anything until I knew him for a month. And so after that month, and then 3 months go by, and I'm like, okay, he is actually here to stay. I can tell my father now.
Yeah,
my dad was not. He was happy, but he was also like, why didn't you wait to tell me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, men are protective. I mean, especially fathers. And I want to know from you, Will, what was that like between you and Jazmine's father? Did he show you the gun collection? Did he, you know, did he have to do a polygraph test? Like, what was going on?
He actually just met my dad in November.
In person.
In person. So a year had passed, and he finally met my dad.
Yeah, so there's a story of that. So to anyone in the audience wondering about the whole like when we were official thing, it was really funny because was it 2 or 3 months afterwards? Like, are we boyfriend and girlfriend? Like, we were boyfriend and girlfriend after the fourth date. And you're like, well, we didn't say anything. I said, I just assumed like we're together, like we're committed. There's nobody else. Like it's us. So that was kind of a funny laugh with it. But going back to it, meeting Jazmine's father, I kind of took the same perspective as you were just saying. With like, this is his baby girl. Like this is her. Like that's a baby girl. And I'm like, but that also kind of came back to like genuine, like I want a long-term relationship. There's nothing fake here. So I'm going to kind of put myself in his shoes and be like, this is one of my daughter. Here's a guy that I don't know. My daughter's going through a lot. I want to make sure that you are a man who is truly wanting a relationship with her, in love with her, and wants to support her. And knowing that was all genuine to me. Like that's all stuff I wanted to do. So the questions, as much as maybe someone else may have felt uncomfortable, because we had the ones like, what are your intentions with my daughter?
Oh yeah, that was
and it was funny because I'm like, she's like, my dad will never ask that. I'm like, I bet you $5 he does. And she's laughing in the background in the back of my head. I'm like, there it is. It was just saying like, no, I really want to just make sure that I love and support your daughter and be there and make sure that as a father, you can rest assured that I have your daughter's best interest in mind and that I want to make sure she's as happy as possible with whatever she may need. So as much as, and I think it was kind of funny because at the beginning, it was kind of that like, kind of had the broad shouldered huff and puff thing and kind of do stuff because it's over video chat.
Yeah.
And as soon as he heard that, it seemed to be lower and it felt more natural with conversations and conversing in between these things. I think that just kind of went like, okay, he seems like a good kid in his shoulders. He seems genuine, which I was,
I mean, especially when he learned your comfort food is chicken wings.
Oh, heck yeah. I'm from Buffalo wings all the way. Like, yeah.
There you go.
Like, are we going to bond over wings? Like, yep. Come on, let's do this. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was nice. And the meeting in person was great too. Because then I got to see a genuine conversation. Kind of like, as I was doing a date, you talk over one thing, then you meet in person, and then the dinner with your brothers and him was just great. I loved it, and just talk with him. I mean, by the end of it, him and I were laughing and joking and talking and stuff, and it was great. I loved it.
So at this point in time, you already felt like, well, you are a part of the family.
Yeah, it felt genuine with the relatives that I have. Because Jazmine comes from a larger family, I have a much smaller family. With the interactions that we've had with everyone, I don't feel ostracized in any way. And to preface this, I had been in previous relationships before where it's like, no matter what I did, I was always the outsider. I was always, you're not part of the family, you're not this. And I mean, it was just like, it's painful after a while because I'm like, I could literally, manifest gold out of nowhere and it still wouldn't be enough. Whereas with this, being genuine into myself, they're like, we see you for who you are, and we respect that, and we welcome you to the family. And it was just like, it was such a relief. Like, it was something I never felt before, but it was good. And I loved it. And I'm like, wow, I feel welcomed. I genuinely do. And it's just, I loved it.
I know my brothers, after the fact, they're like, Jazmine, he's great. He's also very articulate.
Well, I mean, I'm guessing, I'm assuming that English is your first language, right? So,
yeah.
I mean,
okay. English, profanity, sarcasm, probably in that order.
Jazmine and Will, right here on Soul Days Live, in adjacent to the Beat Break Morning Show, Sean Garvey. Okay, so you met the family, you all had a great time, you all got to know each other. Mm-hmm. Now, at this stage, are you all in separate houses, or are you all living together or staying together?
We are in separate houses. I know with my past and also with his, I have a stipulation, and so that surprisingly he has the same thing. I need a ring on my finger before we can move in together.
And I'm the same way.
And it is hard because I know a lot of our at least a lot of my issues of we don't my scheduling and his scheduling would be solved if we did live together. So I know it's coming.
Yeah, and it is. To everyone who's wondering, it will. I think even with mine, I got burned in a past relationship with that, and it's one of those things. And maybe someone felt, maybe you felt the same too. It's like if there's something you've had in your past that burns you so hard, you never want to repeat it, and you try to do anything to just avoid that or know the red flags. That was one of mine.
And I was kicked out, so
yeah,
I'm I'm not moving in. until I'm for sure
I
in
was really
it.
kicked out, but I had to live with that person another year because we just renewed our lease when everything went down, and that was like, you have got to be kidding me. Oh, that was. Ugh.
But I mean, I understand in retrospect, both of you all need spaces. There's a time that Will's gonna need his me time, his space, and same with you, Jazmine. You need your me time, your space. But have you all, even though you all are not living or staying together yet, have the two of you all ever exchanged keys with each other?
And
she knows the code to get in, so she knows the code with everything else.
Do not.
No, to the community.
Oh yes,
yeah, you know that. But I'm saying like you always text me like here, and I'm like, you can come anytime. Just text me, I'm here. Call me, whatever. It's just like, just let me know you're good. Like my family knows everything's else fine here. Like you're good.
And I've like played around with the idea of keys, but I was like running it by my sister.
Yeah, and we gotta respect her too because you live together. So I'm like, that's totally understandable. I'm not here like, oh, I need to get a key. I'm like, no, it's like you got someone else got to do. That's fine. Like your sister knows me. Yeah.
But it's like, comfortability. And so we chose not to. But like he's had my key before. If I was like, because you went to feed my cat. At one point.
I was going to take care of the kitties and make sure that it was clean and stuff. And then I just gave the key back. And I'm like, okay, here you go.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and of course it comes with trust. It comes with honesty and knowing that that person can put you in a safe space and make sure that you won't do anything that would put them in an uncompromised position.
Yeah. I know when you said that, I've been before, and it kind of goes backwards. It's sometimes really hard for a lot of people who've been hurt before to expose themselves again and being fear that you're going to get hurt again. And sometimes you got to put on the line, and I'm glad I did with you. And we've never done anything to think. We always talk it out. Always talk it out.
I'm going to tell you a story real quick. I have another testimony story. So really quick, I was in a relationship where my ex at the time did give me the key to her apartment. I never lived with her, but I did stay with her on a few occasions. And so after she wanted to move on from me, we started hanging out more than ever before. And when I went over to her place and just kind of like hung out or whatever, she asked for the key back. When she asked for the key back after we have watched a movie and hung out and everything, I was like, so devastated. I was like, this is not what I came in here for. I did not come here to give you your key back.
You didn't want to give the key back.
Yeah, you're like, no.
That was my first thing. Like,
I came here to see if we still had a chance. But to give feedback is, I think, especially when you're going through that phase of the breakup and what have you, and giving that key back, that's the most hardest thing. To me, that's the most hardest thing.
Yeah, it feels like it sets in at that point. Like I think in any relationship, you have that moment of like it just set in, like this is done, and it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I had to go through that though.
It's all good, man. That's why I go see my 3 therapists every day.
Mental health is important. Mental health is important.
Y'all check out Therapy Ain't No Joke Wednesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m. on this station. Okay, so all right, now we're in the stage of the two of you all have already made it exclusive. You met the family and everything, and so now you are in this relationship. People on the outside looking in may see you two as, oh, y'all great together. You all look good together. He treats you well. She treats you well and everything. But what were some of the things that tested you all's relationship, especially after meeting the folks and everything? Like, what were some of the challenges that the both of you all faced during your relationship with each other?
Can I know one that recently happened. Can I talk about it? Yeah, okay.
Let's talk about that's why you're here. That's why you're here.
I'm gonna ask him sometime. I know like recently, I forget if it was either last month or like earlier this month, we kind of got into a spat about like, because I got him into voice acting because he just has a wonderful voice and is sitting on raw talent and not doing anything with it.
I didn't even think about that till she brought it up. Okay, I'll try.
But he like sent me a listing for an acting gig, and I surprisingly had saw it, and I was sending it to him too. And it was very much one where it's like the leads are like, there's like an intimate scene.
Or romantic
like,
interest.
Yeah, a romantic interest scene. And, you know, I am an actor. So like, I think he had said something about, well, if you don't get it, I don't want to get it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like, if you get it, just do it. Like, you know, and he's like, I don't want to be romantic with anyone else that's not you.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, me, I'm already an actor. I've studied this for years. So I'm like, no, that's your job. You just do it. And he didn't, like, he couldn't understand why I was not, he was like, okay, if I had to like kiss somebody in another scene, would you be upset? And I was like, no. And he got upset about that because I wouldn't be upset because he himself would have been upset. But like, for me, that's just my job. I can separate. There's no feelings with like having intimate scenes or kissing another person.
Yeah, you've been traditionally trained and know how to do that.
Yeah.
There's usually coaches on him. Which again, once it was explained later, I'm like, okay, you know, there's always the move of the camera and making it look like you are doing it and you're not. Because mine always just jumped to the last thing, and I was like, yeah, you're right. I had my head on my butt, and I'm sorry.
Yeah, and and we talked about it earlier, of like what happens when we do have conflict, and sometimes we need to like step away to like not say something we don't mean to the other person, and we're very clear when we need to take a breath.
Yep.
And I know he had like in that moment when I was like not understanding like why he wasn't getting through his head that this is pretend, this is a job. There's no love or anything wanting with the co-star. And he was so frustrated. He's like, I just need a moment alone.
Just give me like 10 minutes to decompress and then call back and do stuff.
Can I say this, Will? If I was in Jazmine's shoes, I'm gonna just set up the scenario. If I was Jazmine and you came home and you told me, hey, I got a script for a movie and they want me to do a love scene with Julia Roberts, I'm gonna turn that down. I'm gonna be like,
yeah.
Are you freaking crazy?
Yeah.
Get that money.
Yeah, but I mean, once it was explained to me, I understood a lot more, but it was kind of like not knowing and not having that preface and information understanding. I definitely probably just jumped to a conclusion on that one. And I'm like, what? So, yeah. But I know now.
A little seasonal depression coming in, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say this to preface this, and again, speaking to audience people who are having this, I think one of the foundational things I learned in relationships after a while that I would say to anybody and have, going off of, doing this, is conflict between two people is inevitable in any context. Friends, family, especially relationships. And I would say this to anyone who is looking for long-term, is to understand how both of you handle conflict.
Yep.
While it's good. Like when everything else is good, talk about that. It may be uncomfortable. However, and I remember actually watching a video on this and I'm like, wow, that's actually really insightful. It's like, learn how to do conflict beforehand, because learning how to fight in a fight is stupid. You train for that, you talk about before, so that way when it occurs, you know what to do. Because I understand that some people take conflict in different ways. Whereas like you have someone who's like, okay, let's put a hypothetical here and say that you have someone who has a conflict style that you need to step away for a little bit, say 5 to 10 minutes. Whereas someone who might have a conflict style that needs immediate resolution might take that as you're being
brushing it off.
You're basically getting yourself away from the situation, and that's like you're running away from it. And then
a little bit like a passive aggressive.
Yeah. And that might be taken the wrong way and snowball into something else and make what could have been a very easily avoidable or conversational situation and now blown it way out of proportion. Whereas before, if you had a conversation where it's like, over dinner, something lighthearted and fun, like, well, how do you handle conflict or stuff?
You slid that into the conversation.
I did.
So easy.
I did.
But that was the second date.
Yes. But at the same time, now I know, oh, well, if something comes up, I know how to handle that. And same with you to me. And we also realize that in how we work and how we both confront things, like when we did the escape room, where it's like, oh, okay, here's how we handle stuff. Like that, oh my God, it saves you so much problems to understand that now. And I would tell anyone, like, that should be one of the like pivotal conversations you have early on in a relationship. Like, it may be uncomfortable, but that little time of uncomfortable you might have is going to be worth paying spades later. Just like, wow, that feels so much better now. We know how to handle this.
Even talking about finances is an uncomfortable
situation. Oh, yeah.
Like,
and I work in finance now, so I'm like, yep, it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have. But you know what? If you're looking at things, it'd be easier to talk about it now in good terms than when you're heated.
Can you give us an example of that part of the uncomfortable conversation? Because I would put that at the top when it comes to finances. You know, one person could be making more in the relationship than the other. The other person may be insecure that you do more, and just the other things that come along with that. Let's talk about that for a moment.
I think having the uncomfortable conversation, it's the whole, you have to be uncomfortable to get comfortable. Yep. And especially if you're looking for long-term, you plan to marry like we do, like you have to have that conversation about finances. Because I know there are some people who like get married and then they talk about finances and they find out their like spouses in debt.
Oh yeah. And you're just like, oh, I got $200,000 worth of debt.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What?
And so he actually like did my finances.
Yeah, no, because you asked.
I asked him.
It was just to do a monthly budget because here was the new pay you had. You wanted to make sure that everything was being paid in a time, and I did something that, and again, I went off whatever you had, and I'm like, okay, just here's everything. Yeah. And it worked out great because I was able to save money, be fine, like, hey, everything's good.
And it's a nerve, like.
And it's hard sometimes.
I know I'm sticking on the like finance part, but like that when you're thrown jargon that you don't understand, it can make you feel small and stupid.
Yeah.
And I think when I was showing you everything, especially like my student loan debt and then like this is what I have saved and all that stuff, it is a vulnerability that's being opened.
Yeah.
And like you have to be, I mean, if you're in a relationship with someone, you have to be vulnerable with them.
Yeah.
So like having those uncomfortable like conversations, because I don't remember when it was, but like before he met me, like before the other one, he was engaged.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. In previous relationship it was. Yeah.
So it's like having that conversation in the beginning, or it was uncomfortable a little bit, but it was also like, all right, I have a past. Like I think the second date I disclosed that I was going through grief.
Yeah. And it actually helped. So then I understood why somebody might seem a little reserved at that point. I felt like right after that, it just like everything opened up and it was like, wow, everything just feels a little bit more easy now in person and talking about stuff. You know, especially as you're trying to form a relationship and go through things.
Actually, like, I was crying to my friend. I was like, I don't think he likes me the way I like him. And she's like, you literally told him you were grieving. He's just taking it slow.
Yeah, and I'm not being like, oh, look, I'm some, like, emotional vulture that can take opportunistic things. Like, come on.
Yeah, having that vulnerability is important, by the way. And I think the other thing, too, is that it's not what you say. It's how you say it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So when you being presented with documents and stuff like, here you go, that person on the other end may feel like, oh, what is he or what is she gonna think of me now that I am showing person all of this? Now what do you think about me? Like, have your thoughts changed or went different when you saw all that? That's a question for you, Will.
Nope, not a thing. Not a thing. And it was actually interesting too, because you had made back about like the kind of jargon and different definitions. And again, I think this kind of stems from my teaching background because I'm science. So I did chemistry. I was training chemistry, geoscience, biology, and physics. So I have a master's degree in all that. And for me, I always worked with people who didn't understand terminology. So I'm like, how would you know? Like, what do you expect me to just have the same thing I understand? So I would break it down so that way you could understand, so that we could have a conversation. We're both on the same page, as opposed to me like, well, why did you understand
the fact that you didn't judge.
Oh God, no. I don't judge a book by its cover. Your actions speak for you. And having that just helped out a lot. But everything kind of went comfortable with that one. And I fully disclosed everything I had. I'm like, here's what I make, here's everything else. And I'm like, and here's where my aspirations are for future that I am trying to obtain. Like, here's my goal. Like, I'm not just some lump who's like, I'm complacent. Everything's fantastic. I'm like, I'm good, but I want more. And here's how I'm doing it. And here's my game plan.
Right. Exactly. That's very smart. That's very smart. So the finances is another thing. What about the outsiders, the naysayers, the people that look at you all and they may assume or think, and I don't know if you all are on social media like that or not, because social media is another beast too that can make or break a relationship. And I've seen so many relationships end just because of the stuff that they put out there on social media. But has there ever been a time where you've had outsiders look at two of you all and say, y'all are not meant for each other? Or, have you all ever had any of those type of negative comments from other people?
No, actually, I know, like, he doesn't have social media, but I do.
I have no social media. I'm not on anything.
But I also did not post him until like our 1 year anniversary.
So you're being soft launched and hard launched. Like,
yeah, I soft launched him. And then I for some reason did not feel like posting at all. And then he was like hard launched.
When you said that too, I'm like, am I a space program? Like, what are we doing? Like, oh, I'm letting you know on my social media page. I'm like, oh, okay, well, we're still us. So I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. And I'm like, everyone, at least from my end on social media, everyone was like, oh my God, like this is so, you guys are so cute and blah, blah, blah.
I don't think, personally, I haven't had anyone in any of our social circles or outside be like, oh, you guys aren't going to work. I mean, everyone was genuinely happy for us.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Because I think when you have those friend groups, I knew my friends. Like, my friends know me. They're also the same kind of friends where like, they know you genuinely look up, you ain't happy. And I look up, yeah, you're right, I'm not happy. Oh. And they look and go, no, Will, you're like genuinely happy. Like, you're glowing. Like this, like, wow.
Yeah, I know my friends. My friend, her name is also Jazmine. She was like, she's like, I don't know what it is, but Will talk to you and you suddenly just calm down. Like, what?
It's funny. We had a couple times with that phone conversations. Like, I think it was one, you were over at Jazz's house, you were all high stressed out and struggling. Like, you stepped outside, went for a phone call, and you walked back in and you were fine. And Jazz is like, what did you do? It's like, oh, I just called Will. And I'm like, and then she'll come, he's like, keep talking to her.
You just
that's sweet. That's sweet. I want to switch gears for one moment. And speaking of social media, right? We're in the internet age. We're in the internet era. Wild Wild West, of course. That sometimes what I like to call it. And you have this plethora of podcasters. Of course, we all know about the manosphere. We've had, me and other people have talked about it a lot in previous podcasts. And there have been, of course, infamous figures over the years that have come off as relationship experts, relationship gurus, etc., etc. And so when I listen to both sides of the fence, listen to the relationship, or the quote unquote, I'm using air quotes here, the relationship gurus, the relationship experts, their take on things, and then also hear single people respond negatively to these podcasters and these relationship gurus and stuff. I want to get both you, Will, and Jazmine's take on it, because from my observation, it seems like the ones that are commenting negatively the most are single people. But I want to get your take on it, on these relationship gurus and these relationship experts, whether they say some things that a lot of people agree with or don't agree with. And it just seems like the ones that are in relationships right now, it seems like they agree with what the quote unquote relationship experts and the people on the internet are saying versus the single people. What's up with that? I want to start with Jazmine and then we work our way to Will.
I think it's very much because I know, I've been single myself, where it's like you're hearing all this advice and you're like, it's not going to happen to me. Like, I've tried that. But a lot of people say it'll happen when you least expect it. And it truly does. Because sometimes I know myself, when I had gone through my year of being single, I told myself if it happens, like I wasn't going to go out looking for it. If it happens, it happens. And if not, that's okay too. And I think a lot of people put so much on relationships and trying to find the one that they kind of lose themselves in the process of it. Because with me taking, at least for myself, taking that year to get to know me, I figured out what I wanted in a relationship. And this might be like woo-woo for some people, but like I wrote a list of qualities that I wanted in my romantic partner, and I like sent it out into the universe, and then like a month later, not even like a few weeks later, he pops up. You know? So I think but I do think knowing what you want, because I know that you have to know what you want. You kind of also do have to love yourself first, you know? And I know a lot of people, at least I know at some point I was like this, like, no, you can still, and still firm believer, you can still get to know yourself as well as be with someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay to do, but you do have to love yourself to some extent before you can love another. And a lot of people don't want to go through the work. They just want the easy route. And like relationships aren't easy. No relationship is easy. Like no, you're fine. We go through our issues sometimes, like, and we don't have a lot of issues, but we talk about it. And my big thing is communication. So if we can talk about it, go through whatever issue that we have, if we can communicate what's happening, it's easy for us to get past. And the most important thing is like we work as a team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a pivotal thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say something with social media, but I'll wait to my tangent. I didn't want to interject. Sorry, I don't want to take away things that we're going back and forth here. And just
I want to get Will's take on the manosphere first, and the people online that say all this stuff about relationships and how it's the women's fault and this, that. I want to get Will's take on it. I know he's getting ready to give us some missiles here. Let's go.
Yeah, I'll weigh in on this one because I'm very much a guy who likes to research and do. I like to listen to podcasts. I do. Like I like to be pretty well versed in a lot of things, and I like a diversification of information from multiple people to form my own opinion or take on something. I understand what it's like to be hurt from a relationship to the point where you just feel like a hobgoblin, and you're like, the world, I don't want to do it.
Jaded.
And it's really easy to fall into that and be scornful of other people who may have found a partner or relationship and go down like, oh God, what do they call that stupid room?
Rabbit holes?
Yeah, the rabbit hole where he's just like, oh, all women are the problem and I'm always a guy in the bros and blah, blah, blah. And then, but I can also understand how some men have hurt women just the same. And it seems like in a lot of terms, they've created this line in the sand of, well, I'm on your side, it's your fault, and it's it's this pointing and back and forth. You're like, but you're the same people saying you want to find love, but you keep blaming people based on someone other's action. Like, how do you consciously look and go, one person hurt me, you're all bad? What? Like, yeah, that one person hurt you, but how is that fair to everybody else where there's an opportunity you could find love in a relationship, but yet you jade yourself from it and sit in the corner and go, it'll never happen. It'll never happen.
I think that's a hard thing too, because I know like it's comparing the person you're with to your past.
Yeah, people do that a lot.
Well, because I know early on there was a brief moment where I was like, no, this is not the same man. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're safe. You're safe.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
And I think going back to the podcast and stuff of the metaverse, it's really easy, especially in the age of social media, where you have an algorithm that just bombards you with everything else. You watch one thing and that's just always in your face and you fall down it. I don't necessarily agree with that. It's easy to do. It's real easy to do. It's like they're literally designed to keep you hooked.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that point of like, okay, well, what can I look at and try to understand to perhaps improve myself, understand myself better, and the intricacies on how a relationship actually works from people who maybe were success stories, and watch a multitude of them and find common denominators between them and go, oh, I'm noticing like maybe it was unique for this one, but I noticed something over here. It's like communication. That's a really good thing. You always talk all the time. Well, okay, well, how is your form of communication or love language? How do you take that sort of thing? And I know one of the ones, and this is going to sound absolutely bonkers as I said this, and probably the most influential video I watched. Is it okay to like say a video or a thing like that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so there's a YouTube channel I watched called Soft White Underbelly, and they do interviews of people who, like, it was like I was a warden of a prison. I was on the streets as part of a gang or something. And one of them they had was a divorce lawyer of like 30 some odd years. And at the time, I'm like, I'm really not watching it from a perspective like I'm expecting things to fail.
Right.
But wow, 30 years of experience of someone who has seen probably the craziest stuff in relationships and why they go wrong or what might happen in them. And I watched it, and by the end of it, I'm like, wow, he sees all this stuff from different perspectives on how he says, like, when are good relationships are, when are bad relationships, things to look at, or things like, in retrospect, maybe you should have talked about early relationships that could have avoided this whole confrontation. And I'm like, wow, that was really good. And I took that and I watched other things. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to adopt that as I go along and form my own opinion and not so much adopt wholly what someone else says, but I'm going to take those little pearls of wisdom and make it my own so it works for me in my situation, what I feel is best. And it worked. And I know as uncanny as it says, and I know the people in the audience always hear this, the canny line, and you said it before, it's like, it happens when it happens.
Yeah.
And I know that's really hard to hear, but I will say there's times where I, like, in earlier days of dating, I push stuff and try to find things. Oh, I got to find that person. I got to find that person. But when I really kind of digressed back from it and went, you know what, I got to take some time for me and get to know me and really know who I am and what I'm looking for in a partner, it took some time, but it happened. And my God, it was beautiful when it did because everything just fell into line, as difficult it is. And I know this is a bit of a sobering statement to say, but for some people, maybe it's more difficult. It's going to happen. Maybe it's going to take a little bit longer. It's not going to happen instantaneously, but I really hope that when it does, you find that thing that just goes boom, you're confident enough in yourself and recognize when it does happen.
Right.
I think like at least because I had stopped, paused Hinge, and then unpaused it. The second time around, I went from the perspective of not trying to date, but trying to make a friend.
Yeah.
And I think that's what helped a lot. Because
Mm-hmm.
I know, like I said, after the second date, I thought we were just going to be friends, but I was like, yeah, I'd be friends with him.
Yeah.
Even if we weren't dating, I would still be friends with this guy.
Yeah, and I had that perspective too with anything else. I was like, if I happen to meet someone, it's like, hey, because I've been with people before where it's like you work better as friends than you do as a committed relationship with everything.
Right.
And I think some people find that it's like a failure in some ways, but if it's mutual between both parties and you're okay with that, well, I don't see any issue with it. It's like we're all people. We're all going through the same struggles. Maybe you can give different perspective and stuff. And I know, like, okay, so I'll go back to the dating profile and get if it's okay if I do that. Where it's like when I did mine, I took friends that I've had over the years of girls, like they were strictly friends I've had since college. And I mean, great friends, really good friends. I mean, they're like family to me. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna send you some pictures. Granted, nothing like crazy, being like, oh, here's me in a Chippendales outfit. I'll be like, well, what, like, tell me of this photograph. Like, does this look good? Like at a dinner or something else? And they went, yeah, you know what? That actually shows like really good. It highlights your eyes. You look really good. It's genuine. Like it's you. Sure. And even even when I had the responses and stuff, like, hey, if you read this, would this look good? You're like, yeah, here's all the reasons why. And these are the kind of friends, and this is why I keep these friend groups, that they look at me, and if I screwed up, they're not just going to bobblehead and go, hey, everything's great. Yeah, they're going to call you out and be like,
they won't hold you accountable. No. Yeah.
Just no. And like one of the things, like a dating profile that I felt was really great when I had it was, I'm going to go back to Hinge, is they give you 3 questions. And when I had, I'm like, oh man, how do I make this work in 3 questions? Got it. Question I'm going to answer about myself. Question about I want to know about you. And then I want to say something about us. So it's a little bit about me. I want to know a little bit about you. And here's something I want in a relationship that's going to be between us. And man, that really kind of clicked for us between everything. Because then you read it, you were like, oh, yeah, that seems like something we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I want to go back and just respond to something you said about if it doesn't work out, we can at least still be friends, right? Mm-hmm. And so recently, I was on a dating game show recently, and I got matched with a woman, and she's great and everything, but I just only have saw her as like either a friend or a potential business partner that doesn't have to turn into anything romantic or what have you. Because like I'm just at a point, and maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
I'm at a point where I don't want more friends than I already have. Like I already have enough friends. You know, Drake keeps saying no new friends, no new friends. And so I'm just at a point where I'm more about building. So I would like to build with somebody, and if that person happens to be attractive, we have the same energy, the community is great, and we could see ourselves more than just business partners, but it could blossom into a romantic relationship, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But if it's something that is not going to lead to no type of romance or point blank period, I just don't find this person attractive. She may not find me attractive, whatever. It's cool. We can do something together on a business level, on a media level. We don't have to necessarily be friends.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's just how my mind's been working over the past few months now as I'm still navigating these dating streets.
Yeah, like that's perfectly fine. I think it's the idea that you have to be okay with walking away if it's not what you want.
Yeah.
That's basically what it stems from.
I think it comes down to of knowing who you are and what you want out of a relationship too. And saying like, if you had this partner, it's like, and again, like you've had that, if you walk in and say like, I don't need more friends, then that's okay too. You know that well about yourself to admit it and own up to it. Like I had that too. And there's times I sat myself in the mirror staring at me going, is this right? Is this really me? And then realize, yeah, that is. And there's nothing wrong with that, because the more genuine you are with yourself in certain things, for the reason, you know, it's not like, oh, I have, you know, a whole horrible drug addict. Well, then maybe you want to quit the drugs, you know, like that sort of thing. But it's like, I have this in a relationship partner, like this is what I'm looking for. Well, then own up to it. If that's truly you, then that's okay. That's okay. And we had that too, where, you know, there were a lot of questions before, like, is this the real? And we explained that, like, nope, that's good. That's explaining why. And we were both very comfortable and understood, and like, oh, wow, because that's genuinely you.
Yeah, absolutely. What does counseling look like for the two of you all? You know, some people say that, oh, we don't need counseling, we're fine or whatever, but you don't know what things could look like in the near future just because everything is okay right now. Have there been talks about both of you all going to see a relationship coach or to get some counseling? What has those conversations been like, if any, have been made?
I don't think we've had a conversation about that. I know, like, for personal self, I've been looking for a counselor.
Yeah, just for other things.
Yeah, just for other things. But
gotta go back to mental health is important.
But I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to one if it was needed, you know?
I mean, it is okay. I think for us, we work really well for talking it out, but I would not be opposed to bringing in a third party to have an objective viewpoint with us after we've expended as much conversations as we have, because maybe they can offer help with it. Because I know some people who have been in relationships where a counselor has worked and they've been able to find better conflict resolution and management and certain things and kind of get those little nasties out of the way that maybe might have been not talked about before, discussed, or like you hold on to something, you don't talk about it, and then it blows up to something else and it comes out in bad ways. And I've seen relationships work through those. So, you know, for anybody who's in the audience thinking like, maybe I should pursue that, well, you know, maybe that could be a very viable option for you. And I would implore that just to see. If you really want to make it work, then, you know, if you both feel comfortable with someone, then go with that.
Yeah, go with it.
But then there's other times too, and I think some people get in relationships not knowing who they truly are. They establish life, go to things, and then later on, their lives have drifted apart. And it was very difficult for them to look back and go, we had something at one point, but for whatever reason, we've drifted apart. We've both accepted this, and we're comfortable walking away. I mean, and people who've divorced after so many years, and they've had lives together and kids and everything else, and afterwards just go, just ain't there. It just ain't there. And sometimes it's hard to deal with that because we all want that, you know, we all want the silver screen romantic fantasy, but we also understand that life happens sometimes. It's not always easy. Like I always say, like the only thing that's certain in life is uncertainty. But you can't let it dictate and rule your life either. it's kind of this balance in between where it's like you have to accept it, but you can't let it rule your life and live under a rock and think everything is going to be bad and the sky is falling on my head and nothing will ever work. Because you can't do that either. Because then what's the quality of joy of life if you can't enjoy it?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, another conversation. Children.
Hmm?
Children can definitely change things, or will change things in a relationship or in a marriage. Let's talk about that. Starting with you, Jazmine, because I know you spoke earlier about you wanting a family, and Will, you did the same thing as well too. What does that look like? Have there been things where you all agreed on or disagreed on when it comes to family life? Like how many children you want to have, and what names you want to give them, and so forth.
Yeah.
So we talk about children a lot. Like I know in the beginning we were like, we don't want any mini-me's running around just yet.
We want a future, but when we're more stable and everything.
And actually, I already have the names. I've always had them. He gets to give them their middle name, but I recently had to, like, with teaching, you kind of come across kids with the same name as what you have. And I told him, I was like, all right, we got to change the boys because I don't like these names anymore. And he was very open in helping me find the new names for the future boys. And in terms of like, the girls stay, but the boy names, he helped me a lot. Yeah, because those ones have changed, Yeah. And I mean, just you being open with that and not like freaking out over like, all right, she's picking names. That was very like nice. We've definitely talked about the amount of kids we want. Yep. Because I know it's an odd thing because I'm like, biologically, I'm one of 3. So I'm like, I grew up with siblings, whereas he's an only child. Yeah. You know?
Oh, yeah, I'm an only child as well, Will. I'm 8. I know. I know
I want multiples, but like we have and I'm in agreement with it. Like he's like, okay, multiples 2, right? Yeah. I was like, I'm fine with 2.
Yeah, and I think really what stems from that one is just I always want to ensure, because again, and I think this stems from like when I was an educator and teacher, is I've seen a lot of kids who come from households that, let's just say, for sake of conversation, are less than ideal and go through situations and things that no person should ever have to go through. And that really stuck with me. And I had to kind of look at myself and go, what do I have for resources to offer to ensure that I can physically look at myself and go, I am doing as much as I possibly can to provide the best life possible without spreading myself too thin. And doing that for them, I think 2 would be a good number with that one.
Yeah. And we did talk about
like 1, 2. I mean, like if we're blessed with more, okay. But at that point, I'd be like, nip. For me. I'm grateful for whatever the universe gives us, but if at that point you're like, that's a lot. That's gonna be a lot. I mean, like I know when I was being in a classroom with 50 plus kids at a time, and I'm like, you also get it for a couple hours and be like, okay, that's that. But when you live and help and do everything, I'm like, I want to provide the best life can, but it's like there's a point in time I'm gonna look and go, stick a fork in me and turn me over because I feel cooked.
Yeah. There's this story going around, or at least it used to go around about. Reports show that the number of couples that are walking around childless has a tick over the past few years. Pandemic.
I totally understand that too.
Yeah, I can understand that. The social climate that we're in.
Oh God,
political climates that we're in.
Financial, the economy, looking like, looking at what the median income is to have a household and a life. Like, that's some staggering numbers on top of debt you may already have. Like, I don't sit there and go, oh, foo-foo on you for not having it. It's more like, no, if that's your choice and you're comfortable with it, like, I get it. But I can definitely how you look at the instrumental financial and go, oh, crap.
And then, like, age, too, because I know, like, my parents were young. Mm-hmm. They were in their like early 20s when they had me, whereas his were like
early 30s.
In their early 30s. Yep. And then it's like, so that, I mean, that too, the fact that I do love like we're different ages, but we have like the same.
It's the mindset. It's just a lot of things just click.
Yeah.
Like we're unique enough where we're our own people, but a lot of things are like locked together.
Because because I like to travel. Yeah. And there are some, like, I know my parents now, like, the kids are out of the house and they're just doing their own thing, you know? But there are some people, like, as of now, like, with people who are childless, I know a lot of factors can come in between. I mean, it could just be, like, genetic things, or it could just be finances.
Yeah.
Or they just don't want children, you
That's
know?
true.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some people just look and go, it's too much for thing, and that's okay. If you're both in agreement and you both are, kind of go back to communication. So those listening in the audience for this, like, communication's key. They're both comfortable genuinely with that. That's fine.
Plus, there's a lot of kids in foster care.
Yeah, there is, and I think we talked about that. If that ever happened, I'm perfectly fine with adopting or foster care and give a kid a life that maybe they might not have had otherwise. Like, I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah. So being vulnerable enough to be open to other options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, I can definitely understand that. We only got a few minutes left here on So Days Live. Jazmine and Will hanging out with me, Sean Garvey. And by the way, if you ever want to be on So Days Live, whether you are a married person, a person that's in a relationship, a person that is dating, or a person who is single, you can come on So Days Live. Just make sure you send us an email to sodayslive@gmail.com that you see in front of your screen right now. That's sodayslive@gmail.com. Still hanging out with Will and Jazmine. And so you all been together for a year and a half, almost a year and a half, or a year and a half, year and some months. And so it's almost that time to really take it up a notch, to go to the next level. And so what would that look like for the two of you if you all had a psychic ability? Let's just say you all have, both of you all have psychic abilities of what you see your marriage being like between the two of you. What does that look like for you all? I mean, would it be where you all would still be in Las Vegas, being open to moving somewhere in a different region, in a different state, or like what does that look like in the near future?
Yeah, I'm always open to moving. I know he has a little bit of hang up on that, but that's understandable. You know, you want to stay with your dad.
Yeah, because again, being a small family, like, I got my dad. That's it. Like, I got my dad and a couple of relatives that are doing their own thing, but my dad's Jazmine, my dad in my life. Yeah. So it's like there's a lot of things my dad has done to help me become the man I am that I'm like, I want to be there and help him. Like, he's all I got left. So I definitely would do it. And Vegas works.
You can always bring him with you, by the way. Well, you can always bring him with.
All I know is that it ain't going to be a place with snow. Because we dealt with snow for so long. I'm like, no snow. No,
thank you. I moved away from the snow.
No, I'm not dealing with that. Buffalo, New York, Lake Effect snow. I'm not dealing with 8 foot at night. No.
I know, like, at some point in time, kids, but I think it's very much like just relishing in married life for a bit, and then building a home.
Yeah, like, I think it's just enjoying the time we have, is being genuine with that, not having anything feel rushed and having it feel natural. But most importantly, just doing it together.
Yeah.
Doing it together and making it where you can have laughs, you can have those intimate times with each other, you can have the just
cooking together.
Oh yeah, like cooking together and thing. Like, I love that. I mean, I got my idea in mind, so if we ever have a future podcast with you, if everyone wants back on for whatever reason, I got my plans in the future for things for us and my idea, because people have asked and I'm like, no, I got it in mind, but she can't know. And just know we're going to go through there. But I think for what we have right now, I think it's probably the best foundation I've ever had. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I absolutely love it. And I can't wait for the future with this woman. I really can't.
I get excited when I think about our future.
I look at it with just bright eyes. Like, whereas before you look at the future and you're like, oh my God, now I feel like, wow, you know what? Life can be great. This is going to be awesome. Because I'm with this person and we're going to conquer it together. We are going to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for that.
I'm excited.
And I genuinely feel that. It's just, like I said, like before, I'm like, I feel like I'm in a warm, fuzzy coat that you just don't want to take off. Like, it's like a comfort. It's like, it feels so good.
Oh, well, that's a good segue too, because what I wanted you to, and I do this with couples that have been on the show before, is to look at each other and tell each other how you feel individually, one by one, or one at a time, if you will. Like, just look into you all's eyes and just being like, hey, this is how I feel about you. Can we see some of that? right now on So Days Live.
Okay.
He got his arm around you, and you got his arm around him. So,
Oh, baby. No, I love you so much. I told you this earlier. I'm really excited for the future together and just spending life with you. I know it's not gonna happen now, but I know it's happening this year at some point.
Yeah. I can at least tell you that, yeah.
I love you so much, and I really appreciate you. No, everything that you do, because I know I get me all the time, but you ground me and surprisingly in a really good way. But that makes sense because you are an earth sign, so
rock.
In a sense, yeah.
I love you with all my heart. You are. I know this sounds cliche, but you're my everything. You're the first thing I want to see when I wake up. You're the last thing I want to see when I go to bed. And I just can't wait to have a future with you. And it's just it. Whereas before my life was dark, and dealing with all the problems I've faced, and saying I would do it a million times over if it knows that I'm going to be with you. And I absolutely love that. Sorry, I'm trying that one.
and I didn't even have to tell you all to do the kiss cam. Y'all just went in and rolled. I love it. Oh, that is so sweet. That is so sweet. Before we get up out of here, you would be remiss if you didn't give the viewers and our listeners some advice, some tips, some insight on what they can do to navigate themselves through this dating complicated world that we're in, and what they need to do in order to find their potential soulmate, or like we call the segment soul date, their potential soul, if you will. So what advice, starting with you, Jazmine, what advice you want to give to our lovely people out there?
Definitely know what you're looking for and not just like superficial things. Because I know I mentioned it earlier. I wrote out a list of qualities that I wanted in my sexual and romantic partner. And that was the second time of me writing that list, because the first time I wrote it, it was like 3 pages long, back to back. And it was definitely manifesting a specific person. And you don't want that. Like, know what you want. Like, do you want communication? Do you want to build a life with someone? Just like going past the superficial and just allowing things to happen as is. Because I didn't know who I was going to get. It probably was going to be somebody who wasn't my type. And I was going to have to be okay with that, because they matched those qualities that I wanted in a partner. So I think like that's for me the main advice that I can give other people.
Okay. Yeah. Very well said. What about you, Will?
It's hard to summarize this, but I'll try to be I'll try to summarize as best I can. I think the first and foremost, you need to know you. You need to know who you are, what you want out of approach, how you perceive things in the world, and just genuinely be comfortable in your own skin. Because all too often, sometimes we're our own worst critics and we'll talk ourselves out of so much. And there's kind of this harmonious thing you need to have with your inner self to just be like, I'm me. This is me. I'm comfortable with him. I can always improve. But more often than not, like I can look at myself genuinely like I'm a good person. Like I like this. I like who I am. I'm good. If I don't like something, here's what I'm going to do to improve it. Not just talk about it, do it. You're like,
Speak louder than words.
Yeah. I actually speak louder than words. Amen to that. Oh, yeah. I think another thing, looking back on mine, and if I could speak to the audience right now, is don't take like problems you've had and dissuade them, learn from them. Take a moment to look and go, what went wrong? What happened there? Because it's very easy to just compartmentalize that and never reflect on it. And I'm usually a very huge person who's like, if you don't learn from something, you're going to repeat it. So although maybe you have had tumultuous things in your past, whether it be relationships, your friends, family, partners, you need to look back on it in a light of, well, what happened and what can I do to either prohibit myself from doing that again, where there might be a red flag, not bringing it where, you start, labeling people, where, we talked about that before.
Right.
How can I prove myself? Because I used to do that, and I learned that later on, and man, it would have saved me a lot of time in conflicts had I known that. I think being open to opportunities when things come along, and things are just like, sometimes it happens when it happens, and for us it did. And I was such a disbeliever of that saying because it's just so hackneyed. And then you're like, oh my God, they're right. It happened. Like, so don't try to push it. Try to let it happen as naturally as possible. I would also say for those of us in the online dating world, keep yourself safe.
Yes.
Don't do a bunch of shirtless pics, men. Please. If you want to be in the, go have a nice picture at the gym afterwards. Don't do the selfie of. Please don't. If you ever want to have, we can go into that one about. Hey, I can talk about. You can talk about men, things like that. That might help. And don't be so jaded from the world that you deprive yourself of love and happiness when it comes. It's easy to do that, and please don't. I think we're living proof of that. And you know, people can take that how they want, but I can genuinely look and have this conversation with both you and anyone else and go, I'm genuinely happy when I thought I never would be. And it means the world to me.
She's looking at you like, oh, you know the right things to say.
But this is just me. Like, this is just how I'm talking. This is fucking.
And she's a crier. Yeah, and she's a crier, by the way, too. So
I'll cry. I'll be the first to tell you. I am emotional. I will cry. If I see something, what movie we were watching?
Wicked.
Yeah, I cried during Wicked. I cried during Wicked at the end. She's like, "Are you crying?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm crying."
Ain't no shame in that.
No.
Definitely ain't no shame in that, especially when there's good acting involved. I will say that. If it wasn't good acting involved, I'd be like, why were you crying anyway? But then you probably was crying how bad it was.
Yes.
All right, so Jazmine and Will, thank you all so much for just coming on the show and just taking time for coming on the show and just being very courageous enough to even come on, because some couples don't come on, you know, and it's probably for a reason, probably because these are not what they always appear to be, but we need couples like this to be seen on a show like this, so that way we can let people know that it's not only just hope out there, but also knowing what you need to do to be better at being a great dater, at being a great lover, and to find that one soul date. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Jazmine and Will.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it greatly.
Yeah, and can't wait to see you all's podcast very soon, because you all, Will and Jazmine, y'all sound like two podcasters. Like, Jazmine
We
said,
appreciate that.
well, all I know is that when you all get engaged, I want a first-class plane ticket to Las Vegas so I can be there for the wedding.
Okay.
I've never been to Las
When that happens, we'll try to send an invitation for that.
All right. Thank you all so much. This is Sean Garvey signing off. This has been another great edition of Soul Days Live. Make sure you check us out on demand on YouTube, YouTube Network, and on the E channel. You still have time to scan the QR code and download the app. See you all next time, and happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.